You know, I did a video recently on how we tend to categorize gardens as either veggie gardens or flower gardens. And the whole point of the video was don't categorize them, grow them together. You know, they benefit each other. You get the pollinators for the flowers and then they pollinate your veg, etc. Anyway, I won't repeat that whole video. I'll link it in the description. But in this video, I wanted to do the same with houseplants. So I've got this Fatsia Japonica in my garden, which I don't like. I think it's out of place in a cottage garden like mine. I don't really like tropical looking plants in my traditional English cottage garden, but I do like plants inside my house. And you know, the price of houseplants, a decent sized houseplant these days, I mean, you're looking at 20-30 quid. So as I was kind of thinking these two things, I was thinking of them as separate issues. Like I said in my different video, I was saying treating houseplants in my head as like a separate thing to garden plants. And then I just had this eureka moment about this Fatsia, and I thought, wait a minute, plants are plants. So the fact that they are outdoors doesn't mean they can't live indoors, and vice versa. And then I just suddenly realized a solution for my Fatsia Japonica. So I want to cut it back. And I actually did try to kill it 2 to 3 times. So this is an absolutely great plant for anyone who doesn't feel that they're particularly green fingered, because it does just keep growing. Whatever happens to it, it keeps growing. This has been cut back to a stub I don't know how many times because I didn't like it. But its resilience has kind of made me feel more fond of it. I think this plant really wants to survive. So I thought, what can I do? Oh, I know. I need plants in my house. I need one in my art studio, and I kind of want a big tropical looking plant in my art studio. I also have a shady area down my garden where I wanted shade loving plants, and you know, they're quite difficult to come by. So this one taking up a lot of space in a shady area is actually going to look really nice. So they look good in kind of contemporary courtyard gardens, you know, when you have the big buildings surrounding you, and you get glimpses of sunlight throughout the day, but not enough to grow real sun-loving plants. Then obviously a Fatsia Japonica is great for an environment like that. And they have a contemporary look about them as well. So, so that's what I thought was, okay, let's just propagate this Fatsia. Let's take a couple of houseplant cuttings from it, and I'll do one properly, and then I'll do some experimental ones as well. So I thought I'd show you that, how you can multi-purpose your plants. You can have garden plants as well as house plants. And I thought the great thing about this as well is you only have to buy one plant, your Fatsia Japonica, put it in the garden, let it grow wild, you know, not wild, it'll grow about, at its maximum, it'll grow 10 by sort of 10 feet, but you can prune it every year. So it doesn't need to be that big unless you want it that big. And then when you prune it, you can take the cuttings and make house plants. So what a great way to save money. Just before we get into the rest of the video, don't forget to visit my website where I have new designs now, and obviously my blog, which supplements my YouTube channel, but will have additional things such as recipes as well. If you are interested in the merch at all, you can shop both from the US and the UK here in this store. It's all on Amazon, so the clickable links just take you straight to Amazon. So obviously you get all the protections of Amazon as well. If you click on the product, it'll take you to the Amazon US store. If you click on the link below the UK banner there, it'll take you to the UK store. So you don't have to worry about refunds, quality, all the rest of it. It's all there. It's on Amazon. And then of course I have my blog on there as well, so you can have a look at that and see my videos there. All right, let's get back to the video. All right, so here's the Fatsia, and it's yellow because it's probably in too much sun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, you see where it's this, so let's zoom out. You've got a cluster of 3 leaves here. So this is going to be my house plant. And then you can see where it's, that cluster meets the main stem there. So what I'm going to do is cut it here, so that here, where all the hormones are, will produce the roots. And from here, we look down between here, is where other stems should grow out from. to form a brand new sort of branching plant. So let's cut that now. Now, if you wonder why I always use my snips, one, it's because they're clean, and two, it's because I'm always leaving my pruning shears out in the elements, and so they go rusty. Right, so let's get under here now. And what you want to do, now I hope you can see that, is I want to get under that line. That brown line is where the shoots are coming, and this bulbous bit underneath is where all the hormone is that's going to produce the root. There we go. There we go there. Can you see that? Nice clean cut. I'm not going to use any rooting hormone. Take it back to my bench. Right, so here it is, and you really don't want to let this dry out. Now, I'm half tempted, I must say, to grow this in water. So I might do another one, which I'm going to do in water. But for now, I'm just going to do it in a pretty smallish pot like that, just to get it started. This is newly moistened compost with some drainage, which is sand. Anybody who watches my videos knows I always use sand because it's cheap, and it's all very wet. So I'm just gonna tap that down. I don't want to get my hands, I've got bad eczema from weeds. There's a weed in this garden and I'm always pulling it up, and then I go to bed and it starts burning and I regret it. I have to put cream on it, and I do it every blooming day. I forget. Well, not every day, actually. I don't forget every day, but... Alright, so I made a little hole in there. Pop that right... I'm going to pop it decently down so that this stays moist in here and in contact with the soil, so that hopefully it will also branch into... it'll create more branching stems as well. So when I investigated further, the Fatsia had really grown at the back of the trellis over the neighbour's garden. So I cut that off as well and managed to create some more cuttings with that. And I've had a go at experimenting with a larger sort of size plant with the crown in the soil. And then I also, because when you're doing a larger plant with lots of leaves, that's a hell of a lot of plant for the root system to support, for the emerging root system. So I'm not hugely hopeful that it's going to work, but it was worth the experiment because I had to cut these leaves back. Anyway, that was the second one, by the way. This one is more viable, this one, as you can see, but then I did some larger ones, and with the larger ones I stripped off the lower leaves. So I kept those, and I have put those in a bucket of water to see if I can propagate those. Now, the reason I didn't prioritize propagating those leaves, those single leaves, is because I have done large house plants. I forget the other one. It's like a Montessera or something it's called. And I did that as a single leaf, and it did root, but it just hasn't really produced many more stems. It's kind of stayed a single stem plant with a couple of leaves growing up. So it's nice kind of on the side, but it's not really growing into a big bushy plant. So I figured that the Fatsia, if I just rooted single stems, might go the same way. So I will put them in a bucket of water. So I'm going to experiment with those. And of course, I'll bring you all the results of all the different experiments. But the two smaller ones that I did with the 3 branches, I think they will be fine and they will produce nice houseplants. Here's the bigger one here that I did, and as I say, stripped off those lower leaves and put them in a bucket, and then we'll see how they get on. Oh, and one last thing, you must put them in shade, because this is actually a shade loving plant anyway, but anything that's rooting like that doesn't want to be in direct sun, because the direct sun will just dry it out far too quickly, and there's no way it's going to produce roots if it's just drying out within minutes. Especially in this heat, we're having a really boiling hot day today, and we're due a bit of a heat wave next week, so it's all gone in the shade, and in the shadiest, actually the darkest, shadiest part of my garden. and we'll see how we get on. I'll bring you the results in a few weeks. I'll give it 2 to 3 weeks. We'll see how they get on. Here's the bucket. Here's the single stems that I stripped off. So we'll see how they get on. I think some of them will root. But you know, it's not that they won't root, it's the quality of the plant that they will produce. It probably won't bush and look nice if my previous experience is anything to go by. Anyway, there you go. How to you know, save money. Again, that's what I like to get you to do, because if you can save money, you'll be more inclined to garden. If you can do easy jobs and sort of, you know, use plants for more than one use, you know, take cuttings, propagate, use them for indoor, outdoor, veggie, you know, flower garden, you're more inclined to do it. And that's kind of what I want you to do. I think gardening, a bit like eating, has been overcomplicated. You know, we're just bombarded with all these do's and don'ts. And really, you should just need to crack on and get on with it. And it's not that hard because, let's face it, we've been doing it since we were all cavemen. So if we could do it then, we can surely do it now. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you again in my next one. Bye.